I gave everything, literally everything, to our family business. We're talking 10 years of 80-hour weeks, no vacations, and a love life that didn't stand a chance. I believed I was working towards something: ownership, legacy, the dream. Until one random Friday afternoon, I stumbled across some legal paperwork that flipped my entire world upside down. Turns out my parents had secretly handed over 75% of the company to my sister, Paula. Paula, who barely worked part-time, who strolled into the office with ideas and 2-hour lunches. And you know what? When my dad called me in a full-blown panic a week later about losing our biggest client, I just told him flat out, let Paula handle it. The shock on his face was something I'll never forget. Before we get into this roller coaster, tell me where you're watching from. Drop your city in the comments. And hey, if you've ever felt underappreciated by your own family, you're going to want to hear the rest. Maybe it'll help you find your voice too. My name's Rebecca Mitchell, and by the time I hit 32, I'd given a full decade to Mitchell Construction, our family's business. Some of my earliest memories? Crawling under my dad's massive desk, doodling on old invoices while he paced the room barking orders into a chunky landline. By 8, I could spot the difference between a blueprint and a floor plan like it was second nature. At 12, I was answering phones during summer break like a pint-sized receptionist in training. My dad, Thomas Mitchell, was always proud of that. Whenever a client complimented my phone etiquette, he'd grin and squeeze my shoulder. She's got the Mitchell business sense. She's going to run this place someday. That one sentence shaped everything I did for the next 20 years. College? Easy choice. Business management with a side of construction administration. I graduated at the top of my class, waved off offers from big-name firms, and walked straight into Mitchell Construction on the Monday after graduation like it was my destiny. For 10 years, I ate, slept, and breathed that business. I was always the first one in, last one out, and sometimes I didn't even go home. I made client relationships bulletproof, remembered every detail about them, down to their kids' birthdays. I overhauled our systems, digitalized everything, and cut down our project delays by 40%. Revenue doubled. But the title on the door still said CEO Thomas Mitchell. My life outside work, practically non-existent. 2 serious relationships fizzled because I kept choosing late-night meetings over dinner dates. I barely saw my friends, missed my college roommate's wedding for a major client negotiation. I believed all that sacrifice had a purpose. Then there was Paula, my older sister by 2 years and basically my polar opposite. Where I was spreadsheets and project deadlines, she was poetry readings and travel blogs. She spent her 20s living in European shoebox apartments, dating guys named Marco or Thierry, taking midnight swims in the Mediterranean. Don't get me wrong, I loved her. We just lived in different galaxies. She was carefree, charming, artsy, and had that magical ability to make people like her instantly. She took after Mom, while I was clearly my father's daughter. When Paula came back 2 years ago after breaking up with some gallery owner in France, my parents welcomed her home like a war hero. I was stunned when she said she wanted to work with us. She had no background in construction, but suddenly she was creative director. The role was vague at best. She worked maybe 25 hours a week, took long lunches, and clocked out before the sun even set. At first, I didn't care. Honestly, I was glad to have her around again. Her designs for our branding and marketing were actually good. And Mom? She was thrilled, both her girls under one roof. We started having Sunday dinners again. Paula would show up with stories about nightmare clients, and I just listened, too drained to add much. Looking back, the red flags were waving like crazy. The way conversations stopped when I walked into the room. Those private strategy meetings between Dad and Paula that didn't include me. Mom deflecting whenever I brought up long-term planning. Let's not talk business tonight, Rebecca. You work too hard, sweetheart. But I trusted them. I believed every word my dad had ever told me about this company being mine one day. I thought all those sleepless nights meant something. Then came that Friday. I was looking for a misplaced contract, the Riverside development job. Our filing system was a disaster thanks to Paula's latest office organization brainchild. So I was digging through a cabinet labeled confidential legal docs, hoping the contract had been misfiled there. Instead, I found a manila folder labeled Mitchell Construction Ownership Transfer. Weird, right? I thought maybe it was some decades-old paperwork from when Grandpa passed the business to Dad. Just old files. But the date on the front page? March 15th of this year. 6 months ago. As I flipped through it, the words started jumping out at me. Legalese, sure, but certain lines hit like a sledgehammer. Hereby transfers 75% ownership stake to Paula Elizabeth Mitchell, remaining 25% retained by Thomas and Linda Mitchell. No mention of me. Not one line. Not a footnote, not even a courtesy CC. My stomach dropped, my hands were shaking. The whole office suddenly felt too bright, too loud. That's when Eleanor, our longtime office manager, appeared in the doorway. She's been with the company longer than I've been alive. "Rebecca, are you okay?" She saw the folder and froze. Her face gave her away before she said a word. "Did you know about this?" My voice barely made it out. She looked at her shoes. Her silence said everything. "Your father asked us not to talk about it. He said he'd tell you when the time was right." "It's been 6 months, Eleanor." I shoved the folder back into its cover and clutched it like a shield. "Who else knows?" "Most of the senior staff, for contract reasons." I felt sick, humiliated, betrayed. Everyone knew. Everyone watched me bust my ass for years while keeping this secret. I didn't wait for her to say more. I grabbed my purse and left everything else. Laptop, reports, all of it. The drive home, a blur. I don't even remember most of it. I do remember dialing one number when I got home, my best friend Allison. Allie, they gave the company to Paula, 75%, behind my back. She was over in 30 minutes, outraged and furious on my behalf. I sobbed until I couldn't breathe. All the years, all the late nights, all the things I gave up. Gone. And in that moment, something clicked. If they didn't see my worth, they didn't deserve my work. So when Sunday dinner rolled around, I was ready. I walked into that house like it was enemy territory, smelled my mom's pot roast, saw my dad in his usual chair reviewing project files, Paula laughing in the kitchen. Business as usual, until I pulled out that folder and slapped it onto the table after dessert. When exactly were you planning to tell me about this? That, my friends, is when all hell broke loose. The silence after I dropped that folder on the table was deafening, like you could hear the fridge hum and my mother's spoon clink against the pie plate. No one moved. No one spoke. My dad was the first to break the silence. His voice? That classic CEO tone he used when calming angry clients. "Where did you get that?" I didn't flinch. "Does it matter?" I asked. "Were you ever going to tell me? Or was I supposed to keep killing myself for this company while my sister holds the deed?" My mom reached for my hand. Her face flushed. "We wanted to tell you, sweetheart. We just didn't find the right time." I pulled my hand back. "The right time was before you signed these papers, not 6 months later." My father took over, his voice sharper. "It was a strategic decision, Rebecca, for the future of Mitchell Construction. Paula brings a fresh perspective." Fresh perspective? After 10 years of blood, sweat, and unpaid overtime from me? "And I don't?" I snapped. "After everything I've done, doubling revenue, modernizing operations, building client loyalty, you hand the company to someone who's only been here 2 years and works part-time?" He shook his head. "You're too much like me. Too traditional. We needed change." I slammed my hand on the table. "Then why didn't you talk to me? Why didn't you ask what I thought? I had ideas. Hell, I pitched most of the things Paula's calling new strategy 3 years ago, and you shot them down." My mom tried to mediate. "Rebecca, please, you've always been practical. We thought you'd understand." "Understand what? That my whole life was a lie?" That's when Paula finally spoke. Her voice was soft. "Becca, I didn't know. Not really. Dad talked to me about taking a bigger role. I didn't realize what that meant for you." I cut her off. Don't pretend you didn't benefit from this. You signed the papers. You're smart enough to know what you were taking." My dad banged his fist against the table. "That's enough. This was a business decision. Paula has qualities the company needs now. She's helped us grow." "Really?" I laughed, but it was bitter. "Let's talk about that. Paula, how many hours did you work this week? 20? 25? I pulled 3 all-nighters just to get the Anderson bid finalized." Paula looked down, ashamed. "I know you work harder than I do, Becca. I've always admired you for that." "Yeah, admired it so much you took everything I was building for." You still have a job, my father said, voice strained. A good one. One with potential. That stopped me cold. Potential? I echoed. Dad, I've been running that company while you've been networking over golf and Paula's been doodling marketing flyers. I've led the team, brought in contracts, kept the lights on. But sure, let's pretend I still need to earn a seat at the table. Your sister needs your experience, my mom chimed in. You've always made such a great team. No, Mom, she's the owner. I'm the labor. That's not a team. I turned to Paula. Tell me, did you even finish the Maxwell cost projections? Silence. Didn't think so. That was the moment. The moment I knew this wasn't salvageable, not with me playing the same role. So I stood up, folded the folder neatly, and looked them all in the eye. If Paula owns the company, she can run it. I quit. My dad jumped up. You can't quit. We have Anderson's project kickoff next week. Maxwell's bid is due. You can't just walk out. I grabbed my purse. Let Paula handle it. My mom broke into tears. Rebecca, please. We're family. Family doesn't blindside each other with ownership transfers, I replied, heading to the door. I'll send my resignation email tomorrow. Don't worry, I'll be professional. More than I can say for the rest of you. As I walked out, Paula followed, calling my name. I didn't turn back. I got in my car, hands trembling, and drove. 3 blocks away, I had to pull over. The tears came fast and hard. The next morning, Monday, my alarm still went off at 5:30. Out of habit, I reached for my phone before remembering I didn't work there anymore. I silenced the alarm and lay there, staring at the ceiling. For the first time in a decade, there were no deadlines, no urgent calls, just silence. I got up, made coffee, didn't drink it, put on yoga pants instead of slacks, stared at my business blazers like they belonged to another person. By 8:30, I called William Barnes, my old college mentor who now ran his own firm and had been trying to poach me for years. Rebecca Mitchell, he answered. To what do I owe this pleasure? Don't tell me your father finally pushed you too far. You could say that, I replied, and then I told him everything. An hour later, he said something I hadn't allowed myself to believe. You're not foolish for being loyal, but loyalty needs to be a two-way street, and clearly this was a dead end. His advice? Document everything. Every client I'd managed, every system I'd created, every relationship I'd built. Not to steal, but to show my value. So I did. I spent all day creating a dossier of my work. Projects completed, revenue growth, software implementations. I left out proprietary info, but I knew what mattered. The intangible things that kept that place running, those lived in my head. Then I wrote my resignation email. It was clean, professional, emotionless. I cited my 6 weeks of accumulated vacation, time I had never taken, effective immediately. My out-of-office message, short and sweet. I am currently on leave. For all inquiries, please contact Paula Mitchell. Then I turned off my work phone. The rest of the day, I met with my friend Sophia, a lawyer, who confirmed I hadn't violated any contracts. She also reviewed the ownership docs. Legally, they can do this, she told me. Morally? Whole different conversation. That night, I went back to the office, at 9 p.m. when I knew no one would be there, to collect my stuff. My keycard still worked. My code still opened the door. The place was dead silent. I packed up my things, photos, mugs, plaques, left everything company paid behind. No gray areas. I found an old photo from our 25th anniversary. Me, Paula, and Dad, all smiling. I turned it face down in the box. As I walked out, I dropped my keys on Eleanor's desk with a sticky note. Please forward my final paycheck. Driving home, I didn't feel victorious. I felt gutted, but weirdly free. By Wednesday, I'd heard nothing from my family. Not a call, not a text, not even a passive-aggressive email. I started building a routine, woke up at 9 instead of 5:30, took long walks, went to yoga, spent time with friends I hadn't seen in years. Then the messages started rolling in. Day 3, text from the team. Paula, where's the Anderson revision? Westridge client is asking for you. Dad's freaking out about the Maxwell bid. Did you finish the cost projections? I ignored them. Day 4, voicemails from my dad. This is ridiculous. Call me back immediately. We have responsibilities. My mom's messages were softer, guilt-laced. Sweetheart, this isn't like you. We can work through this as a family. Delete, delete, delete. Day 6, Maxwell Anderson himself called. He's the CEO of Anderson Construction, our biggest client. Rebecca, he said, what the hell is going on? Your sister is, well, she's not you. I told him gently, I'm on leave. Paula's the contact now. Not good enough, he said. You were our person for 5 years. If you end up somewhere else, call me. I'd follow you anywhere. That call changed everything. For the first time, I let myself imagine a life outside of Mitchell Construction, and it felt possible. 7 days after I quit, my dad called again. I picked up, his voice, panic mode. Rebecca, Anderson is pulling their contract, $12 million. He says he won't deal with Paula. You need to fix this. I was calm. Let Paula handle it. This isn't a game. This is your heritage. No, Dad, you gave my heritage away. Remember? Anderson wants an answer tomorrow morning. He'll walk. Then Paula better give one hell of a presentation. Click. 20 minutes later, he showed up at my door. He barged in, pacing my living room like a madman. Do you know what you've done? Anderson's gone. Westridge is shaky. Paula doesn't understand half of your notes. I sat calmly. Sounds like a leadership issue. You did choose the new leader, didn't you? He stopped pacing, glared at me. You're enjoying this. Not enjoying, processing. He sighed and dropped into the chair across from me. I didn't come here to argue. I came to offer you a deal. I'm listening. Chief Operations Officer, total autonomy, double salary, corner office. I blinked. You're offering me the job I already did for more money and still under Paula? It's a promotion. It's a slap in the face. What do you want then? 40% ownership, board seat, standard work hours. He choked. Paula owns 75%. That's impossible. Then she can sell me some, or you and Mom can. Make it work. You're dreaming. Westfield doesn't think so, I said casually. They offered me a job yesterday. Director of Ops. Profit share, 4 weeks vacation, normal hours. Not all of that was confirmed, but it shut him up. You wouldn't. Maxwell already said he'd follow me. Want to test how many more will? He stood, stunned. I'll talk to your mother. And Paula. You've got 2 days, I said. After that, I sign with Westfield. As he walked out, he looked 10 years older. I wasn't sure what he'd decide, but for once, I knew exactly what I wanted, and I wasn't afraid to demand it. The next 24 hours were quiet. No phone calls, no emails, no texts, which was oddly peaceful and deeply unnerving at the same time. Then my mom showed up at my door, casserole dish in hand, like we were back in 2003 and nothing had happened. Just checking on you, she said, setting the dish down without meeting my eyes. Sure, Mom. We sat at my kitchen table, and she tried the soft approach. Your father hasn't slept. He's devastated. About losing contracts, I corrected, not about what he did to me. She winced. It's complicated, Rebecca. He does love you. We both do. Love and respect aren't the same thing. Then she surprised me. I told him he was wrong. He shouldn't have left you out. I knew it then. I know it now. Wow. That was unexpected. And Paula, I asked. Does she think stealing my future was complicated too? Mom hesitated. She didn't know the full extent. Your father made it sound like it was best for everyone. Said you'd always be too busy running things to want ownership, I scoffed. That's a convenient narrative. She didn't argue. Is he considering my offer? He's talking to Harold. That stopped me. Harold Peterson, our family lawyer. That meant Dad was taking this seriously, maybe even realizing I wasn't bluffing. After Mom left, I felt something weird. Hope. For the first time, I thought maybe, just maybe, I could actually get what I wanted, what I deserved. The following day passed in a strange limbo, no word from anyone. I reviewed Westfield's offer again just to remind myself I had options, a life beyond Mitchell Construction. Then at 6 p.m. on the dot, my phone lit up with Dad's name. We'd like to meet, he said, all business. Tomorrow, Riverfront Restaurant, noon, your mother, Paula, Harold, and me, to discuss terms. Game time. I spent that night prepping like I was heading into $1 million pitch, because, in a way, I was. I reviewed every figure, every clause, every angle. I wanted to be bulletproof. No emotional outbursts this time, just facts. Business. Business. Thursday noon. I walked into Riverfront wearing my power suit, the same one I'd worn to land our biggest client. My hair was pulled back tight. My expression? Calm, collected, and unshakable. They were already seated, Dad, Mom, Paula, and Harold, with a leather folder open in front of him. I sat down. No hugs, no small talk. Let's do this. We've reviewed your proposal, Dad said. Before he could continue, Paula held up a hand. Wait, I want to say something first. I raised an eyebrow. Rebecca, I'm sorry, I really am. I never meant to take what you worked for. I didn't understand how much you'd sacrificed. I didn't even know Dad had promised the company to you when I signed those papers. I watched her closely. No eye rolling, no smirk, just genuine remorse. I've been drowning these past 2 weeks, she continued. I thought I could learn on the fly, but the truth is, I'm not cut out to run this company alone. You made it look easy. Your dad cleared his throat, clearly uncomfortable with this public humility. She's right. We made a mistake. That was huge. Thomas Mitchell never admitted mistakes. When I talked to Paula about stepping up, he went on, I didn't tell her you'd always been my plan for the company. I thought easing her in would be smoother. I misjudged everything. Then he paused. We're here to fix it, if you'll let us. Harold cleared his throat. I've drafted a few options, based on what you requested. We spent the next hour negotiating. Dad tried to lowball me at 20%. I flatly refused. Then Paula surprised everyone. I'll give her 35%, she said. I never wanted to be majority owner. I just didn't want to be the screw-up daughter anymore. I blinked. Had we misunderstood each other our entire lives? You could have told me that years ago, I muttered. We finalized a deal. 35% ownership transferred from Paula to me, 40% stays with Paula, 25% remains with our parents. I become Chief Operations Officer. Paula keeps her creative director role. All major decisions now require majority approval between at least 2 of the 3 parties. Mandatory cap on executive hours, 45 hours per week, 3 weeks vacation minimum. The toxic grind culture? Officially dead. As Harold drafted the final language, Paula leaned over. Can we talk? Just us? I hesitated, but nodded. We stepped outside onto the patio. I know I've been a crappy sister, she said. But I wasn't trying to steal your dream. I was just trying to find a place in the family without feeling like a failure. That hit harder than I expected. Funny, I replied. I always thought you were the golden child. You were free. I was useful. We both laughed, awkwardly. We never really talked, huh? Nope, just competed for the same father in different ways. There was a pause. Then Paula said, I don't want to be CEO, I want to create. But I need someone like you to turn my visions into reality. For the first time, I didn't feel threatened. I saw the potential. We could work if we worked together. We went back inside and signed the letter of intent. Will you come back tomorrow? Dad asked as we gathered our things. Anderson's still threatening to leave. I smiled slightly. Not tomorrow. I have a job offer to decline. And 5 weeks of vacation I'm finally going to take. He nodded, finally understanding he wasn't calling the shots anymore. I did take that vacation. 10 days at a beach resort, solo. I read books, slept in, didn't check a single work email. When I came back, I saw everything differently. I moved into my new office, not the corner one Dad offered, but a bright space I designed for actual collaboration. Big desk, cozy meeting area, whiteboard wall. My own. Paula and I revamped the company. She handled branding, client relations, and innovation. I handled ops, finances, timelines. And it worked. We landed new clients, streamlined our systems. The staff actually smiled during meetings. Eleanor told me, this place finally feels balanced. Even Dad seemed relieved to step back. He started mentoring younger hires, enjoying semi-retirement. That Friday, I left at 6 p.m. sharp for a dinner date with Nathan Rivera, a civil engineer I'd known for years but never had time for before. As I grabbed my purse, Paula peeked into my office. Leaving already? This co-owner has plans. She laughed. Doctor's orders? Owner's orders. At dinner, Nathan raised a glass. To knowing your worth. And demanding it, I added. That Sunday, I even went to family dinner. It wasn't perfect, but it was peaceful. We talked, not about work, but life. My dad complimented our board presentation. Mom teared up just watching it, and for the first time in years, it didn't feel like performance. It felt real. 1 month later, Paula and I presented our 5-year plan to the board. It was a real partnership. Her creativity, my structure. When we finished, the board gave a standing ovation. I caught Dad watching us, not just proud but a little amazed, like he was finally seeing what was possible when he got out of the way. Later, in my office, Paula raised her glass. To losing the business. I tilted my head. That's a weird toast. If Dad hadn't pulled that ridiculous move, we'd still be stuck in those roles. Me floating, you burning out. That sometimes you have to lose the wrong version of your dream to find the right one. She was right. To finding something better? I said. We clinked glasses, and as I watched the skyline from my office window, my own office, I realized something. By standing up for myself, I didn't just claim a piece of the company. I claimed me, my time, my value, my future. And that was worth more than any title ever could be. So, what about you? What would you have done if your family pulled something like this? Walked away? Fought for it? Have you ever had to stand up to someone who loved you, but didn't respect you? Drop your story in the comments. I read every one. And if this resonated with you, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who might need the reminder. Knowing your worth isn't selfish, it's survival. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.